My name is Bond.
James Bond.
Shaken, not stirred.
Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
I'm now aiming precisely at your groin.
That's not funny, 007.
For England, James? No.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Enter the BondVerse, where we're going through every movie in the James Bond franchise. I'm Kyle. I'm of course joined as always by my wonderful co-host Nathan. Say hello.
Hello everyone. I have
Nathan,
no funny bit.
You have a funny bit, but no. Nathan, before you get to your funny bit, I have a funny bit, which is, Nathan, this episode, it's for your eyes only, okay?
It's for me. It's only
it's for you.
me.
It's
this
only
is
for you.
The Nathan Patreon exclusive film.
We don't even have a Patreon. This is just you giving me money.
But this is like This is like the exclusive tier for one.
Yeah.
This is Kyle's private channel.
Oh yeah.
You think all you guys that pay for his YouTube? You think you're not getting this? This film's alternate title, Not Blue Harvest, is for Nathan's eyes only.
Nathan, do you want to explain what happened here? Because we were very confident last week that we were doing For Your Eyes Only.
Yeah, well, I would like to fucking blame the director in the movie for that. Yeah, frankly. So, Kyle, this film is not For Your Eyes Only. It's not. For Your Eyes Only was thrown in the trash heap because of a little movie that accidentally changed cinematic history called Star Wars.
I've heard of it.
You've heard Star Wars? Yeah,
I've heard of it, yeah.
It's quite a B movie, you know? Mm-hmm. It's really seedy. Star Wars came out the same year as The Spy Who Loved Me, and then they thought, oh, fuck, Star Wars changed the landscape of filmmaking, we need to do that.
Everybody wants space now.
Everyone wants space now, yeah, exactly. Let's do a space film, For Your Eyes Only we'll make later. And then they thought, what story do we have for this?
Mm-hmm.
I know. Let's just remake The Spy Who Loved Me in space.
Let's just make the same movie again. No one will notice.
It's in space paint. It's fine. Yeah, we'll change. It's not a Russian lady assistant. It's an American lady assistant.
It's not under the sea. It's in space. So exactly. There you go. It's very different, actually.
It's very different.
Jaws is still here, but
yeah, Jaws is the holdover. Jaws and Roger Moore. Yeah, they're the two people that they decided they would keep on. This is a more subtle Thunderball versus Never Say Never Again situation.
Yeah. We're doing Moonraker, by the way. That's the movie, 1979.
1979's Moonraker, the year of Alien, which is why For Your Eyes Only is actually just a remake of Alien.
Well, we'll get to that next week, obviously. Assuming there's not another secret one in there.
Yeah, there's a secret one, yeah. No, there isn't. We will actually do, because this film does end again with For Your Eyes Only next, you know?
For real this time,
yeah, we promise, in brackets.
Okay, technically, the end of the last movie is not a lie, because Bond does return in For Your Eyes Only. It's just like, we didn't see when. Didn't see when he was going to return in that movie.
It's true. It's so true. Yeah, absolutely. So, this is directed by Lewis Gilbert, whose first Bond outing was You Only Live Twice. So this man has worked with Connery. And he also done The Spy Who Loved Me. And then they thought, do you want to just make the same movie again?
Yeah, okay. Well, let's get into it. We start with a boat. No, not a boat. It's a ship.
It's a plane.
It's a plane. It's a bird. It's a plane.
Yeah,
it's
Superman.
A spaceship. Yeah. It's a plane that's carrying a spaceship.
Yes, it is. It is. Carrying a space shuttle.
A space shuttle. First frame of the movie, Moonraker. These ships are called Moonraker, hence the name of the movie.
Quite a good name, I suppose. Though they never go to the moon.
Yeah, I was going to say that. In my memory, they go to the moon, because I have seen this. I've seen, like, the last half of this movie before. I realised while watching that I've not seen the first half, but I must have put it on the TV when it was halfway through the movie.
Yeah, I mean, the second half is really where this movie decides to live up to its premise, you know?
Yeah, but they don't go to the moon, and I remember in my head it was a moon base, but it's not. It's just a space station.
That's Austin Powers again.
It's Austin Powers is the moon base, yeah.
Yeah, Austin Powers is the moon base, yeah. I've seen all that Austin Powers inspiration. They only got 3 movies, but my God, they put a lot of tributes in, right?
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, we're seeing this big airplane that's taking a Moonraker shuttle to the UK on loan for some reason from the US, from NASA.
Yeah, this all seems like it's going to be quite important, but it really isn't.
Oh yeah, this is like the weakest part of the film actually later on when we reveal why the hell this all happened, you know? It was like, oh, excuse to make the movie is what the villain looks at the camera and says.
Pretty much, yeah.
He grabs the lens
to get involved somehow, yeah.
He grabs the lens and twists it, looking right at you, and points, says, it was so we could make this movie. And then puts the camera down and never addresses it again.
But yeah, so a couple of goons steal the Moonraker.
And when they take it, I actually think, by the way, I should say, this film was nominated for Academy Award for special effects.
I can see that. It looks pretty good.
I think this movie looks tremendous, actually. I think that this movie could really have suffered from poor model work. Mm-hmm. And I think this model work is some of the strongest the Bond movies have done.
Listen, when they ditched their ideas to cash in Star Wars, they didn't half-ass it, okay?
Yeah, they were like, we're really going to cash in here. But yeah, so all good stuff, and when the shuttle takes off, it activates its like thruster engines or something right into the cockpit of the plane and just completely destroys the plane and kills everyone on board.
Yep.
Which is actually I think it's quite a gripping opening. And then we cut to a meeting with them, and they're saying, how has Moonraker gone missing? You know, this is unacceptable, you know. Moneypenny, where's Bond?
He's on his last leg, sir.
Yeah, well, because he's like in some sort of tour of Africa or something. He's on the last leg.
Something like that, yeah. He's doing other Bond stuff.
Doing other Bond stuff, yeah. And then we cut to Bond, quite literally, on the leg of a woman. An air hostess on a plane, private jet. And she's certainly on the leg. And he says, you know, I'm never going to fly with anyone ever again if it's not you, or something like that. And she puts on a gas mask or something. She's like, oh, that's very true, and brings out a gun. Da-da. And then the pilots also in on it, and they're both here to kill Bond. There's a fight in the plane. By the way, Roger Moore looks amazing here. See his blue velvet dinner jacket and his big, thick, white polo neck.
We're starting to get into 80s fashion here.
I'm a big fan of this look, I gotta say. The trousers, I think he looks amazing here. This is a strong Moore look. Relative to last week, I don't think he looked all that good. So I just had to bring it up, and then he's fighting people, and you know, and they're like, you know, enjoy your flight, and they shoot the controls of the plane.
Well, they shoot like the gauges, the speed gauges, as if that would change the speed of the plane. You know?
Maybe like it fucks up the rudder, so he has no control, so it's now just in free fall, and he can't do anything about it.
I guess so, yeah. Not that it matters, because he gets pushed out of the plane anyway.
Only because he fought them. I think they were planning just like Ding Dong ditching him, you know?
Yeah, doing a classic. It's that Temple of Doom, which I think might be the same year as this as well.
No, Temple of Doom...
No, that's 80s. Yeah.
Yeah, all Indiana Jones is.
It's soon, but it's not quite yet.
Yeah, not quite yet.
Temple of Doom, they jump out.
So, Bond decides that... Well, he doesn't decide, rather. There's another man on this plane, Kyle. And it's Jaws.
Hell yeah, Jaws is back.
Hell yeah, you a big Jaws enjoyer, Kyle?
I am a big Jaws enjoyer. He's much more openly comedic in this movie, but
he's
you know,
so much more openly comedic in this movie. I think I like him less when he's doing bits, to be quite honest with you.
He was also doing bits in Spy Who Loved Me, just not as like he was doing bits as opposed to like the world was doing bits to him. Yeah,
I think I preferred that. But yeah, because this movie, he's having a ball.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, he pushes Bond out of the plane, and we get some seriously impressive stunt work, which I was trying to figure out how they shot.
Were they done for real, apparently?
That's insane.
It's all stunt. It's all like stunt performers, and they had to like jump out of a plane with heavy camera equipment. But this is all shot for real. You get some like shots where like you get close-ups of someone getting kicked, and that's all done in like some sort of blue screen rear projecting. Yeah. But like the actual big, long set pieces of people wrestling in air, because the bit where the stunt performer that's supposed to be Roger Moore, when they jump out of the plane, he like does like a little tuck and tumble underneath between the bad guy's legs, and it looks like he's trying to stick his head up his ass. I just had to bring that up, you know. And then he's trying to wrestle the parachute off this poor gentleman, and he does.
Yeah.
And now this man is just falling without a chute because Bond couldn't have decided to drop with him in the parachute.
No, that guy's gonna die a horrible death.
What happened to the lady? Did she fall without a parachute?
What happened to the lady?
I think she falls without a parachute.
Oh, I guess she has a horrible death too.
They must have a horrible death.
But also, Jaws doesn't count on the fact that pushing Bond out of the plane will kill him, so he does dive in after Bond.
Well, he
also.
needs to. The plane's going to crash.
That's true, yeah.
I think he's got the lady's parachute.
Okay.
Or maybe he is his own because he was always on the plane. But as they're falling, he goes in for a big old ankle bite, doesn't he?
Yeah, big old bite on Bond's calf, yeah.
Yeah, which I think is actually quite... I think when Jaws goes in to bite someone, that's the scariest part of him, actually. They're the bits where I'm like, oh, that's unsettling, actually. And
yeah, but
Bond wrestles him in midair.
Yeah, manages to kick him away. He tries to activate the parachute, but he's too big and strong, and he breaks the thing.
Yeah, but he does activate the parachute eventually and goes flying up above him, you know? And
no, Bond activates the parachute. Jaws breaks his parachute.
Yeah, Jaws does break his parachute, yeah, because he's too big and strong, yeah. And he falls into a circus, and you even hear, like, in the ground...
Yes.
And
this is where, like, oh, this is going to be a silly movie.
Yeah, this is goddamn ridiculous. I don't have time for this.
Jaws, he falls into the circus, and it's just his silhouette, and then his silhouette transitions into the opening theme.
Yeah, a return of Shirley Bassey, Kyle.
A return of Shirley Bassey, the weakest Shirley Bassey song.
The weakest. No one talks about Moonraker.
No, it's okay. It's just a bit like... It's this kind of like slow piano music. It's just a bit like in one ear and out the other for me.
It's about like love and what he's going to do to you. It's so generic. I think this is worse than Thunderball. You know, I'm a big Thunderball defender, but you're like, oh, Thunderball just is like a song of just describing like nothing really about like the film. Yeah, I think this is just that again, but it's not.
No, it does feel a bit like Shirley Bassey had this song and they said, "Can you just put Moonraker in it somewhere?" And she was like, "Sure."
Yeah, exactly, sure. Like, how much are you paying me to come back to this? Because everyone knows Goldfinger, everyone knows Diamonds Are Forever, two iconic songs. No one playing this when she dies, you know.
No.
And people go through the Shirley Bassey song listings.
Also, I did want to point out the visuals for this one are very strange too. There's like silhouettes of like naked ladies doing Superman, but it's just like a cardboard cutout that they're moving. It's very weird looking.
Yeah, it is. And also, like, there's just like big hard cuts to like out cuts of actors. So, like, it says Roger Moore as James Bond, and it's just him with the parachute.
Yes.
All that kind of thing. But it's quite slow. The song's quite kind of soothing, and then we cut right into Bond coming into Moneypenny's office.
Which I have to say, I am shocked that other than Bond, all of the MI6 staff, they're still the same. I kind of thought we'd have mixed someone up by now. What is this, like... We're nearing on 20 years since Dr. No at this point?
Yeah, we are.
Because that was 1962 and this is 79, yeah. But it's still the same M, still the same Moneypenny. Obviously still the same Q.
Always still the same Q. That'll never change. Well, not for a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. We keep the same one. But you know what we lost with the Connery era?
The Office Bants?
The Office Bants. We don't get a lot of the Office Bants anymore, but
no, we really don't.
We're doing a little bit of Bants here, aren't we?
They really don't do like the Bond Moneypenny flirting stuff at all with Moore.
No, they don't. That's true. I wonder if it's got something to do with like an age difference with Louise Maxwell.
I think that's probably the case, yes. Like, well, we can't have him flirting with an older lady. He can only flirt with ladies 20 years younger than him.
That's kind of what I think as well, actually.
Yeah. Unfortunate, but I guess that's the 70s going into the 80s.
Yeah, I've been watching lots of interviews with Roger Moore recently, just because of this. And people were saying, you know, what made it time for you to, like, give it up and not come back. And he said it was in the last one when he realised he was kissing someone that was the same age as his granddaughter.
Yeah,
and he was like, see why. It's time to go.
Fair enough, you know?
Yeah. But from what I hear of the feedback of Roger Moore, he's a thoroughly nice man. He was a thoroughly nice man.
Every time I see interviews with him, he seems lovely, yeah. It's just, recruits Bond to find out what happened to the Moonraker. It's very important because this is like a global embarrassment for Britain that they've lost the shuttle.
Yes, because the Minister of Defence is there, yeah, you're right. And we get told that the shuttle was made by someone from a company called Drax Industries, which is the most MCU thing in the Bond universe ever, I think. This is more this is more comic booky than Spectre.
Drax is a very like comic booky. I mean, obviously there is Drax, but even just the sound of it, yeah.
Yeah. So we're having this briefing. We only get one gadget from Q, don't we?
Yes. Well, he gets like a hidden dart gun.
Yeah,
on
it's
his
like a
wrist,
hidden
yeah.
blade. It's just you lift up your wrist.
Apparently this is standard issue for all agents now, though. So
Apparently it's a 002 and all that. Bill Fairbanks, he'd have been alive if he had this.
coulda, woulda, shoulda, you know.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda, exactly. M isn't happy about the testing it out in his expensive paintings in his aristocratic office, though.
Which is fair enough.
Because of, thank you, 007. But we must go to LA, Kyle. That's where we're going. This film kind of buries the lead on what this film's tourism subject's going to be, but right now we're going
it
to LA.
does. This movie is a little more globe-trotting than usual, I would say.
Yeah, I would
Except for
say.
the part where we leave the globe, but you know.
Yeah, we literally go globe-trotting.
But yes, so he immediately gets picked up by a private helicopter.
Yes, he
Right.
does.
A lady who has no brain cells. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
She's quite a proficient helicopter pilot, and her name is
I
Corinne
suppose,
Dufour.
yes. She is a proficient helicopter pilot. She's French, because I think Drax is French also.
Yeah, he
He owns
One
the
of the-
Eiffel Tower.
apparently in the because this estate he has in LA that's not the English countryside.
No, definitely not. No, they
Is-
definitely went to America to film this.
Definitely to America film this. He got this house and all of the pathways, the fountains, all brought over to the California brick by brick. And then he was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you should buy the Eiffel Tower," says Bond. And Dufour says, "Oh, he does, but the French government wouldn't let him have an export license or something." Which is just quite
Yes.
funny.
It's very funny. Yes.
Ridiculous billionaire nonsense.
Oh yeah, but it's totally different from the guy in the last movie, though. So
Totally different. This guy built the Moonraker shuttles, but it's also immediately obvious that he's evil from the first encounter with him.
he's even wearing like the James Bond "I'm a evil bad guy" outfit.
Yeah, he's wearing like black Blofeld outfit,
Yeah,
you know? And he's
he
got
has,
the
he has a
goatee.
goatee. Yeah,
He's from the Mirror Universe, I think.
he does. Yeah, he does look like a Mirror Universe guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he looks a bit like Evil Q, like Mirror Universe Q.
Yes, I agree.
So
Yeah.
we come in and he's playing the piano, and he's very calm, very spoken. He talks about kind of philosophy and all that. And I say in my notes here that he'd be a good like villain for Picard.
Well, he says that afternoon tea is the greatest British contribution to civilization.
He does say
So-
this, yeah. I just think that he seemed at this point, because at this point in the movie, Kyle, don't know that this film's going to do nothing with him.
Interesting. So, is this the first one you've never seen before?
This is the first one I've not seen anything of,
Well, that's exciting.
isn't it? Yeah. So I did not know that they were going to do nothing with this character.
No, yeah, he's not much of a match in the pantheon of Bond villains.
But he'd be great in Star Trek Discovery. He shows up, does a nice little speech about something or another. And you know what? He does want to go and start eugenics wars. So, I think Khan was somewhere on that spaceship, on that space station.
He also has dogs, which are given a lot of emphasis early on here, and then do one thing, and then we never come back to the dogs.
Yeah, they're used to get rid of the fair later on.
Yeah.
But when Bond leaves to be given a tour around the facility, he has his his henchman, called Chang.
Yes, very solid Asian representation we have here.
Oh yeah. So Drax says, "Look after Mr. Bond, see that some harm comes to him."
Which, as if it wasn't already immediately obvious that Drax is the villain, Bond hasn't even learned that you're a villain yet. You don't need to, kill him. You just, give him a fake tour and make sure he doesn't see anything. But if you kill him, you're only going to bring more, attention to your secret evil organization.
There can be a helicopter crash. There can be just unfortunate accidents that happen there, because I always think it's weird when they do give Bond too much insight into their organization unprompted. I'm always like, Stromberg, why are you letting this man come aboard Atlantis? You have no need to do this,
Yeah, but at this point, he's pretending I'm the company that made this shuttle, and obviously I want to help you find the shuttle. This is an embarrassment for me as much as it's an embarrassment for you. I'm going to cooperate completely.
Yeah.
That's a perfectly fine cover.
And at the start of the film, there is a good sort of layer of, we're really annoyed at the British government for losing track of this, because the British government see it as a great embarrassment that they lost something that was on loan to them.
I feel like Drax is jumping gun a little bit and trying to kill Bond here.
I don't think these two characters have pretenses for very long at all, especially when we get to the shooting later on.
Yeah, well, it's fortunate for him that Bond is the dumbest spy alive, as per usual.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we need to have someone to keep him on the straight and narrow. We need to have the triple X of this film, Kyle.
Yes, well, he goes for a tour of the lab and he meets the chief scientist of Drax's operation, Dr. Holly Goodhead.
Love it. Best character ever in Bond film, Bondum. She says she's on loan from from NASA, the Space Administration, Kyle, because this film came out in such a time where you needed that kind of exposition.
I was just gonna say, obviously Austin Powers parodied this with Felicity Shagwell.
Yeah.
Right? I honestly think Goodhead is a dirtier name than Shagwell.
Do you? It's not as British.
It's not as British, and that kind of makes it more obvious what's happening. I don't know. Shagwell is like so obvious that it's just like cheeky. Goodhead is just like, oh my goodness, you dirty old men.
I think it's perfectly within keeping of the wild names that this franchise has brought upon our shores.
Oh, it's up there with Pussy Galore for sure.
Oh yeah, it's Holly Goodhead. Now, Holly Goodhead is going to show Bond the space astronauts training facilities where they get subject to severe gravitational forces that throws them around in the big arm thing.
Yeah.
And she straps him in. I don't have a clue why Bond bothers to get
she's
in
she's like, oh, do you want to ride? And Bond's like, yeah, sure. So what are you doing, Bond? Don't get into this thing. You're on a mission.
Bond he's just doing it for a work perk, so he can say he done it. So he can say, oh, he's a Navy commander, he wants to figure out how the Air Force do it,
I have to imagine at some point we've seen Bond in fly a plane at some point in these movies before.
Yeah, we have. Remember his little helicopter and You Only Live Twice?
Yes, the little helicopter. Yeah, Bond has been subjected to G-forces before.
I don't think those G-forces are particularly extreme. But anyway, when he's all bolted in, he gets a chicken button that he can press to cut it all out at any point. And then Chang decides he's going to take control of the machine and plug out the black wires and plug in some red wires, Kyle.
Well, okay, yeah. Holly Goodhead says, oh, we usually only go up to 7 Gs. It can go up to 20, but that would be fatal, so we don't do that. And I'm thinking, well, then why can it go up to 20? That seems like a real design flaw that I wouldn't trust.
Maybe for testing purposes of, inorganic matter. To see how, it handles it, see if you can shatter something apart in a space launch.
And then when it does that, you're like, oh, yes, it does, just as we suspected. Good intel.
I mean, you've got to find these things out in case you have some super new dense material,
Sure, yeah. But Bond gets trapped in this little thing, and Roger Moore sure makes some faces while going around in this thing.
He does. He shows a lot of gum, doesn't he? A lot of gum.
I assume they just blasted a wind machine in his face to record this.
But yeah, absolutely. It's getting faster and faster and faster, and Bond presses the chicken switch at 7 Gs.
Uh-huh.
He's like, this is where it's got too much for me, but it doesn't do anything because the red cables are plugged in the control room. And then we remember, I have my hidden dart gun via vision quests of Q. Hallucinating.
Yeah, we do actually get flashbacks to that scene that happened 10 minutes ago in the movie, just in case we forgot that he has a hidden dart gun.
By flashback, I really mean flashback. It's like it flashes on the screen like a subliminal message.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Yeah, but not that subliminal. And then he shoots it, and it powers down the whole machine, and he gets out, and Chang's just raging, and that's when Holly Head shows up again to say, hello, so sorry that happened to you. That shouldn't have happened. And Bond's just stumbling around.
I just had a thought. When they're in a spaceship later in the movie, G-force doesn't come up at all.
Well, that's because they're both experienced.
It seems like those shuttles have sort of simulated gravity, so I don't know. It seems like maybe the training's a little bit redundant.
This film kind of sometimes knows how gravity works and sometimes has no clue how gravity works.
No, this movie has no idea how gravity works.
Well, it kind of does in that the space station rotates to create artificial gravity, and then when he hits the emergency stop button, the space station stops rotating and the gravity switches off.
Yeah, I understand that, but just the act of the station rotating wouldn't create gravity.
But it holds you to the surface, That's how sticky walls work at theme park rides and stuff, Spinning in itself does create some forces that keep you grounded. That's a feature of other science.
They would keep you grounded to the walls. They wouldn't keep you grounded to the floor.
Well, it depends how that building's orientated. For all we know, that the walls are the floor.
Well, also on the station, there is zones of anti-gravity and zones with gravity.
Well, this is what I'm saying, Kel. This film knows how gravity works until it doesn't.
Yeah, because they open a door to the gravity zone and then they close the door and there's gravity now. Like, it's air. It's oxygen.
It's very Willy Wonka, isn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, that's jumping way ahead of the movie. But yeah, okay, for some reason Bond is, like, staying in this estate with Drax.
Drax
like,
is wanting to put his best foot forward.
Yeah.
You would think, like, Drax wouldn't even have made the offer because, like, I'm going to kill you in 2 minutes.
I mean, it makes it easy to kill him, I guess. I still don't understand why he's trying to kill him.
In this whole scene, by the way, between Bond and Goodhead, as they're coming out of the practice room, I feel like she's completely ADR'd because I think she sounds awful. I even note down here it sounds like she's a bad actor.
It could have just been, like, bad audio in that big echoey room.
It could be, but it's not affecting Moore at all. It's just her. It felt like she was either entirely ADR'd or, like, I don't know, they had a body double for her and I just didn't see it. Like, it just didn't sound like the same person because it doesn't happen in the rest of the film. It's that one room.
Oh, we skipped past a line that I had noted down that I liked, by the way. This is a good quip.
Okay.
She says, like, oh, even a 70-year-old could handle 3 Gs, Mr. Bond. And he says, the trouble is, there's never a 70-year-old around when you need one.
What does that even mean?
I don't know, but I think it's funny.
Yeah, it's funny. It is funny.
He wants to sacrifice a 70-year-old into this machine, yeah.
Yeah, Holly Goodhead's a bit of a psychopath, which turns out being for good reason, as the film will tell us later. But now we're going to go through a whole song and dance here, Kyle, with Bond going to see
Corinne,
yeah, and trying to seduce her to get information from her. I don't know why she would know any of this, to be honest with you, anyway. And then apparently she has access to Drax's private study. She knows where the safe is. Bond actually does a good bit of spy work here by saying, where's the safe? And then looking at what she looks at and going, thank you very much, because he knows that means she's looking at the safe. But, like, he sleeps with her and then, like, just says, I'm looking for information, and gets...
She breaks down so quickly to be like, I love you, Bond, and I will do whatever you say. She head empty, I will do whatever. I almost
contemplated not noting any of this down and jumping on, but I guess when he opens the safe, he fingers out that he needs to go to Venice, because that's where a company that Drax owns is making glass lenses. Yes. Or glass containers for the gas that will become prominent later in the movie. There is, like, a plot to this film, you know? It's not a bad film, it's just a fucking stupid film.
Yeah, no, there's a plot, yeah.
But before we leave LA, Kelly, we got to go see Drax one more time. He's having a straightforward shooting weekend.
Yeah, he's dressed like the Sheriff of Nottingham. He has, like, a big feathered cap on and a big hunting jacket.
Yeah, a big cloak, dark green cloak on. Yeah,
that's right. It's not a jacket; it's a cloak.
Yeah, he's like evil Robin Hood.
Yes.
He is from the Mirror Universe, I'm convinced. And he sends one of his goons up to, like, a tall tree to shoot Bond when he gives Bond a go of his rifle so that he could, like, fire maybe at the same time Bond shoots, so you wouldn't hear his gunshot going off.
I don't know why he has any pretense here. If he's just going to shoot Bond, just pull out a gun and shoot Bond. Yeah, it's not as if there's anyone watching you.
Yeah, you're on your private estate and you've sent all of your people away to lunch.
Yeah, just send your dogs after him. Yeah, that's what they're trained for.
In their first meeting, by the way, with Drax, and in this second meeting with Drax, he's introduced Bond to 2 gorgeous women each occasion. These are part of his genetically engineered posse.
Yes.
You know? And
we don't understand this yet, but he is always surrounded by very beautiful women.
Yes, and it's... I can't tell if it's the film made me want to think it's sexual. I think it's a bit too subtle for me to be sexual. But like, they are genetically selected because he's a eugenicist.
Yes.
He starts the eugenics wars in Star Trek, Kill. That's what I'm saying here.
This isn't Drax, it's Khan.
Yes, it is. They
figured it out.
It is. So when Bond goes to shoot the bird or whatever they're shooting, the geese, it's not clay pigeons shooting, it is live animals they're shooting.
Yes.
He shoots up and he misses the animal anyway, and Drax goes, "Oh, you're a poor shot." And then the man that was going to kill Bond falls out of the tree, and it's like, what does he say?
Bond just has. Well, Drax says, "Oh, you missed, Mr. Bond," and the body falls out of the tree, and Bond just turns into the smuggest face in the world and goes, "Did I?"
Did I? Yeah. Now, at that point, the both of them know what each other's up to, right?
Yes.
Why?
Just kill him.
Yeah, just kill him at that point, I reckon. But
I'm saying that to either of them.
Yeah.
Like, Bond, he just tries to kill you. Pull out your dart gun and shoot him.
yeah, at this point you have enough evidence to say this man's a malicious murderer, and frankly your license
You have
to
a
kill should be
license to
valid.
kill, use it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, right? This is where Corin dies because Drax decides...
Yeah, instead of Bond or Drax killing each other, Bond just jumps in a car and drives away.
Gets driven away. He's driving.
Yeah.
Who's presumably looking for Drax that could just kill him as well.
Yeah, it's so many opportunities to kill Bond right here.
Yeah, and he's just not. So not only is Bond a bad spy, Drax a bad villain.
Yeah. Okay, to be fair, there's a line much later in the film where Drax is like, oh, you've foiled so many of my amusing ways to kill you. So I guess Drax is just like having fun with it and doesn't want it to be easy.
Probably, yeah, that's what we can only be left to assume, can't we?
But yeah, after he leaves, Corinne walks up to him and he's like, you're fired, Corinne, because you betrayed me and you're terrible. And she's like, oh, that's very sad.
Yeah, and then she runs away into the forest and we get this really melodramatic scene of her running through the woods with the dogs
It's like the
chasing
opening
her.
of a horror movie.
Yeah, a cheap horror movie at that. It was just that. No, I found this bit so weird. And it bites
It's
her
very
and pan
weird.
up and we're done. Now we're in Venice, Kyle, and with Franco.
And it doesn't matter at all because Bond is never like, oh, I wonder what happened to Corinne Defer, you know?
Yeah, exactly. No one does. I certainly wasn't. So that's LA done. We really are still bearing the lead in this film's tourism plot. Because now we're in Venice and we've been taken on a gondola by a man named Franco. And Bond says, I'll call you Franco later on for where to pick me up. He doesn't call him at any point. He just spawns in later on like a horse summoned in an RPG game.
He does the whistle to summon Franco. Yeah.
Yeah, he whistles and then you turn around and there's a gondola just sort of flash spawning into the water. Yeah, this is some Assassin's Creed Valhalla stuff.
Oh, we didn't point this out too. When he's in the safe, Bond has a little camera that has 007 engraved in it.
Yeah, you're completely true. Yeah, correct. That has happened. I've not that note down as well.
Which is just, why? Do all the other 00s have like 006, 005 engraved in their little spy cameras?
Yes, it's for branding, Kyle. Branding.
You think Q does that?
Yeah, Q has one that says Q on it. it's rimmed the lens. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. He has like one for his son, Q Jr. and stuff like that. Or Boothroyd, sorry.
This is another scene that baffles me. So as we said, Drax has this other company that's manufacturing glass. And so what does Bond do as a spy Bond? He walks in the front door. The lady's like, do you want to buy anything? And he says, no, I'll have a look around. And she says, go wherever you want. And then somehow he can just walk into the back manufacturing plant.
She actually, I think he believe first says like, oh, I certainly would like to, just talking to you or something like that, you know?
Yeah, he's doing some like Bond flirting or whatever.
Some Bond bullshit. Yeah. So this is a glass manufacturing place where they blow glass, and this is where you think this is we're going to Venice, and we're getting a wee bit of Venice film tourism here. And we're seeing how they produce old glass and stuff. It's fairly interesting, actually, even to me. I knew
Big
all
fan
this.
of that show. Was it like Hot Blowing or something like that? The glass reality TV show where it's like they make glass stuff every week.
Never heard of this.
This was like a big internet thing. It's like there's like a blacksmith version too where they make swords and stuff, but this one was specifically the glass blowing one where each week everyone has to make like a big thing out of glass.
I've never heard of this, Kel.
I swear to God, this was a popular thing for a while.
It might be, Kel. It might be. The algorithm doesn't say. Watch my algorithm now flood me with this, even though we're doing an offline recording. Yeah, watch me get flooded with this. Anyway, so he's walking around, and like you say, Kel, he's accessed all areas apparently.
Yeah, I don't understand how this works at all. There's no security in this building.
He sees a tour being taken around a museum, and there's a lady who is one of the genetically engineered people, by the way. Or not they're not engineered, they're like just specifically
selected.
Selected. Yeah. They got good genes, Kyle. And she's saying that, here's this vase here would sell for $1 million, but if you try and steal it, don't. And then she puts her hand next to it and it sets off an alarm, which is like a setup for later.
There's a couple setups in here. There's also they set up that there's a sword with a glass hilt in here.
Yep,
very rare.
I didn't even notice that in the film until it was in your notes. I had to go back and look for it. But we're just having some fun, doing some movie tourism as per, and then we see a lady. I didn't even know this was Goodhead, by the way. She looks so different. And
she's not in her science costume anymore.
She has her hair down and all that as well. It was just her hair being up earlier in the film. And, she's walking around, she's sort of snooping, I guess you could say. She definitely is. And then Bond sort of follows her up to like a out of bounds area. It's even out of bounds for someone like him, but then he hides and she walks out. And then this is where they finally kind of talk to each other about, I'm giving a speech tonight. And he's like, well, we could go for drinks afterwards, and he's like, you can't think of a reason to say no. And she's like, I'm sure I will.
Yep.
And then this is where
Bond's
Franco...
being very pushy.
This is where Franco fucking spawns in out of nowhere. Yeah. And, Bond's been taken away by Franco in this gondola. Pretty nice and relaxing.
Yeah.
And we see a gondola hearse come by.
Because we're in Venice, you see.
Yeah, we're in Venice, which means gondola hearses. Maybe they are a real thing. I don't know.
I'm sure they are, yeah. Venice is mostly, like, canals, right?
Yeah, they have no roads, yeah.
Yeah.
So...
But yeah, this is where my favourite character in the movie shows up. A guy with such a heavily implied backstory who we'll never learn more about. Because
we never get
inside this coffin, there is an assassin. And he opens up, and not only does he throw a knife at Franco, F. Franco, by the way.
F. Franco, yeah, F. Franco.
But in the coffin, there is, like, neatly ingrained into the coffin lots of different knives that all have their separate holster, like a toolkit.
So what I find incredible... Yeah, this is... You know what this reminded me of? In the Michael Bay Transformers movies, Optimus Prime has, like, a truck lorry in the back where he picks out all his weapons.
Yes.
That's what this reminded me of. Like when he transforms and his trailer becomes like a weapons locker for him.
The fact that he has this implies that this is like this guy's MO. He always shows up like hidden in a coffin to assassinate people.
The coffin hearse murderer slasher or something. Yeah.
Yeah. But Bond shoots him, and that's the end of his lifelong story.
Yeah, then we get into a big bloody boat chase that takes us everywhere, and turns out
why does every movie with Roger Moore have a boat chase in it?
He just loves water, Listen,
Actually,
it's Commander Bond, Kyle. He's demonstrated with water,
I just realised this movie has 2 separate boat chases in it.
Yes, it does. The gondola one and the
insane.
speedboat one, yeah. They split it up from the boring long one and Live and Let Die.
I suppose so, yes. But yes, as it's mentioned, this isn't a regular gondola. This is a spy gondola.
That's a spy gondola with all sorts of motor engines and doohickeys all over the place, yeah.
And when I was watching the movie, I did not realise that Franco was an MI6 agent. I just thought, like, Bond got real lucky on finding this gondola.
Yeah, he picked out the right gondola. He got a good job, yeah. This is Quarrel Jr.
Yeah, but the gondola has, like, an engine in it, so that you don't actually need someone with a pole to move it along. And then, more importantly, it has a hovercraft mode, so Bond just sort of climbs out of the ocean.
Yeah, and then there's, like, onlookers just watching him, waiters spilling beers over customers, because everyone's just that stunned.
Yeah, he's driving around that square. Yep. I can't remember what it's called. It's the famous site in Venice.
Yeah, I've played a lot of Assassin's Creed multiplayer maps there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So... Bond gets away from the assassins. The assassin falls out of his boat and the other guy drives away and we get some wacky slapstick about him being left in the water. Yeah, exactly, right, yeah. And then Bond decides to transfer back into it being a regular gondola again, gets a gondola man's hat from somewhere and just sort of rides up to a little corner where you can abandon it. Why abandon that? Do you have like a tracker that MI6 can come pick that up tomorrow? I hope so.
Yeah. I doubt it though, because Bond has never shown a particular care for MI6 equipment.
Well, he's sneaking around, Kel, in this place that he's arrived at, and he sees a musical combination door. Makes a little tune to open the door, and we get into Drax's secret gas-making lab, don't we?
Well, okay, I have to talk about the tune that the door makes, though.
Oh, please.
Because the door, when you hit all the buttons, it makes the tune from Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It goes do 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 do.
That is brilliant.
Because it's a space movie. I'm sure there's a point later in the movie where they also play the opening theme of 2001: A Space Odyssey, the Sriracha, whatever that music is called.
Yep. But
there's a lot of like pop culture references in this movie.
There is a lot of pop culture references in this movie. And Close Encounters of the Third Kind is a pretty new movie at this point.
Yeah, I looked it up. It was 2 years old when this movie came out. It was very recent.
Same year as Spy Who Loved Me.
Yep. It was the space age.
It was the same year as Star Wars. Yeah, we're just doing bits here, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
An early Steven Spielberg, John Williams collaboration.
But the fact that that's the door combo, I guess, means that Drax is just a big sci-fi nerd, which I guess makes sense.
Okay, listen, this movie was made for those kind of people, wasn't it?
It was, yes. But yeah, so behind the store, Bond finds a secret laboratory with some dudes working on some secret stuff.
Yeah, he does. And he just poisons them.
Yes, look, I'll be honest, this is their fault. This is absolutely 100% their fault. They should have been wearing hazmat suits for dealing with this stuff.
Yeah, you would think, wouldn't you?
Because this is, they're working with some kind of poison, so Bond opens one of the pods to get one of the vials to test later, but he doesn't have a chance to sort of fix it at the end, so when the guys come back in, they accidentally knock it over and immediately die to the poison.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
It's like, maybe if it's that easy to die, wear a hazmat suit. I don't know. Seems like the thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you. But Bond decides that he'll take a sample and he'll get the fuck out of there.
Yes. At some point he gets attacked by a kendo warrior.
Yes, he does. He does. That does happen later on.
It's in my notes, it's the next thing that happens, but I don't remember how we transitioned to him being attacked by a kendo warrior.
Bond is fencing a ninja is what I have here. It's because when he leaves the lab, he's in the museum again.
Yeah, no, I have to be very specific. It's not a ninja. It's a kendo warrior because he's attacking him with a bamboo sword.
Right. Okay. See, these nuances go over my head. I'm very culturally insensitive.
Yeah, kendo is like I've seen it before. It's like the thing with like the mask. And like, yeah, you fight with bamboo swords. So
yeah.
It's not really like a lethal art that I would suspect you to have an assassin. I'm use an actual sword.
I'm hearing an Echidna warrior, which is Knuckles from Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yes, it's Idris Elba making his first appearance in the Bond franchise. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But we're all doing bits around all this expensive glass and vases that's everywhere, you know? Bond's, standing through vases and doing big eyebrows and being enlarged. And he's got the fencing sword with the glass hilt. And he's got his hand out. I haven't witnessed it.
There is so many shots in mirrors in this movie that I started keeping count. The very artsy shot where you see something in the reflection of a mirror.
Yep.
It happens so much in this movie that I have to assume the director just discovered this new trick that you can shoot things in a mirror without the camera being in it.
Probably, yeah. He just wants to show it off, yeah.
Uh-huh.
It could be he's just a fan of it. Like, mirrors are just a cool thing to him.
Uh-huh. It's certainly not, relevant to the movie at all. It's not like mirrors are thematically relevant.
Space Age is all reflective, isn't it, Kyle?
Oh, I see. Yeah,
see?
That's it.
You see, that's
what
it's all about, yeah. We're in the age of aluminium, Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
Bond doesn't want to harm this $1 million bowl we see earlier on with the alarm, so he picks it up and immediately puts it down again before this Echidna?
Kendo.
Sorry. Let me try that again.
Just kendo with a K. Kendo.
Before this kendo warrior wrecks the bowl just by smashing right through it, but the base of it's still in place, so it doesn't set off the alarm, you see.
Oh, in case it's Chang, by the way, in case that wasn't obvious.
It is Chang, in case it's not. But then we reach the top of the museum, which is a big clock tower, and you see the interior of it, and I've called it Chekhov's clock face.
Yeah, as soon as you see it, you cut to the outside, it's like someone's going through that clock.
Someone's going through that clock. Oh, yeah, he is. And the person going through it is Chang.
Yeah, obviously.
And what does Roger here say? What does Roger Moore say here?
Well, okay, yeah, Chang falls through it and he falls into a piano that was being played by a street band down below. And he says, "Play it again, Sam." I'm like, what? Is that a reference? Is that a reference we don't get?
Yeah, I think I don't. It's like asking a musician to play that song again. I think.
If we were alive in 1979, we'd be like, yes, play again, Sam. Perfect. It's a reference to Casablanca. I think
I would slap my knee, Kyle. I'd go, ha, brilliant.
Yep, perfect. Yeah.
And now I just had noticed about how good Bond looks, because this is where we discover that Holly Goodhead is actually working for the CIA, Kyle.
Yes. Every single thing in her room is a deadly gadget.
Yeah, deadly diary. She's got a bit of a scent fragrance that you activate, and it's actually a flamethrower. Yeah.
Yeah, she has a pen that has a poison knife in it.
Yeah, and there's a bottle of Bollinger 69, and Bond goes, "Oh, you were expecting me."
Nice, Bond.
Yeah, good sex jokes there, and it's Bollinger. Yeah. And then she's like, "How did you know I was working for the CIA?" And Bond says, "I've got friends in low places." Which is just a little American dig that we enjoy seeing so much. But
that's the closest we get to a Felix Leiter reference in this movie.
Yeah, we do. No Felix Leiter in this film. This is your Felix Leiter. If they were brave enough to make Bond a bit sexually queer, this would be Felix Leiter.
Well, we'll get into it later, but there is a joke about that in the movie.
Yes, true. Well, they decide that they're going to try and work together, and they spend the night together as Bond tends to do with women. Then he gets up and goes. She also gets up and packs up because when he's fighting Chang, there are crates that say Rio de Janeiro, which is where things are being shipped from this facility because Bond is out at it. And then she also's packed her bags and she's going to go to Rio de Janeiro, but beforehand, Bond is going to get M and the Minister of Defence, for some reason, to go to Drax's lab.
This is a bizarre scene, yes.
Yeah, the Bond could have done this in any previous movie, but of course it makes no sense to do it, so why would he? But in this movie, he's going to do it.
Even logistically, he has to call M and then get M and the Minister of Defence to Italy, which you have to assume this is like a few days later, probably, to get all of that in office in order. You know?
Absolutely. Clearing schedules, explaining packing, yeah. Absolutely. So, we walk in, he gives them gas masks. The police are outside still doing their Italian investigation. Mm-hmm. And then we get to the door with the musical code. And the musical code's still there.
Yes.
But we do it and we go in and it's now just this big fancy, like, opulent office for Drax. Like, there's nothing there and Bond just looks like a
he's just standing
fucking
there,
freak.
Yeah. But, yeah, and Drax is like, wow, you Brits and your sense of humour. And the Minister of Defence has to, like, do an embarrassing backwalk. He's like, I'm so sorry, Mr. Drax, you're obviously an upstanding citizen.
Yeah, because the Minister of Defence says that he plays bridge with this man.
Yes, he plays bridge with Mr. Drax, which, you know, that speaks great to our British government, doesn't it?
It does. It says that we have oligarchs up at the friends with the highest people of power. It's a completely ridiculous thought. Complete fictition. Complete fabrication. Yeah.
Who can imagine?
Who could imagine? Who would ever do that? Yeah.
Oh, the escapism of fiction.
Oh, the escapism of Bond. Oh, you're so silly.
But yeah, after he's been publicly embarrassed, Bond is like, oh yeah, I also did steal a vial of this poison. Here, have you analysed it? Why didn't you just send the vial, Bond?
Bond should have led with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the Minister of Defence says that he wants Bond off the case now. Like, this is the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to him in his career. He even apologises to Drax on behalf of the British government.
Yeah.
And he's, M's like, I'm gonna have to do what the Minister wants me to do here, Bond.
Yeah, you have to take a few weeks off, Bond.
Where were you thinking of going?
Rio de Janeiro, obviously. Yeah, and then I want to say this is like the third or fourth time that M has been like an off the books. It's been like winking a nudge, do this off the books mission thing.
Yeah, I agree. But he kind of has a little like kind of a smile this time because he's actually out in the field. We never really see Bond out in the field with M. M doesn't leave the office very much,
I mean, him doesn't leave the office very much, but he is usually in like a regional office.
Yes,
yeah, the submarine office. The ship office. He's always around.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I guess what I mean is to say that he doesn't go. He's not out on location. So it was nice to see him out and about. I'm going to bring up at this point, by the way, this is Bernard Lee's last outing as M.
Okay. I was wondering. I felt like it was coming up soon because he's quite old by this point.
Yeah, he is. So Bernard Lee died in 1981, and this is 79.
Okay.
So the next movie comes out after his death. He died at the age of 73 years old, though, so he was only 69 or something when they made this.
People age differently back then.
Oh, yeah, they do. They do. He died after filming began in For Your Eyes Only, but before he could film his scenes as M. Out of respect for Lee, no replacement is found. So we won't have Lee next week.
Right. Well, fair enough. As his last role, he's doing M stuff.
But it's nice to see him out and about doing stuff, He's not just sitting in an office. He gets a little bit more office bants with Louise Maxwell's Moneypenny, if brief,
Yeah. Okay, I did want to talk about this because I noticed this in your notes.
Yeah.
So, next up, Bond flies to Rio. And Nathan, what airline does he fly on?
He flies with French Airways, I think.
He flies Air France.
Air France.
Yes.
So I can explain this to you if you would like.
Please do, because he's flying from Venice to Rio on Air France.
So you've actually missed what the product placement is here, Kel.
Have I? Okay.
Yeah, it's not about the air accommodator, though it kind of is. It's about Concorde.
Okay.
And Concorde was a type of aeroplane that was only provided by French Airways and British Airways.
I see.
There were only there was no like American. There was no Italian Concorde. Concorde was a very specific kind of air travel line.
So
was just
they picked Air France because Air Britain would be too obvious.
British Airways, but I think maybe it's just because maybe back then France had it before the UK, or it was because he's leaving from Italy and they could get a connecting flight on the continent. He could have went there via, but like Concorde at the time is supposed to be flash because you could get from London to New York in 3 hours. That was the thing.
I see.
Concorde is like hypersonic flight, you know. Concorde was the thing, you know.
Well, I was going to say, there's a couple of really obvious product placements in this movie, which I haven't really noticed in the previous movies before now, but there's a couple of shots where it's like, well, that 7-Up bottle is very obviously placed in frame right there.
Oh, it's the banner above the cable car thing, yeah.
Yeah. There's that. There's one where a guy crashes into, I want to say it's British Airways, crashes into the sign.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, we'll get you where you're going, British Airways.
We should say, by the way, when Chang dies and Drax get the news, he says he'll need a replacement man, and someone on the phone says the kind of man he'd get, and he's like, well, definitely get him if you can.
Mm-hmm.
Which still leads us up to who we'll be meeting later on.
Of course, yes.
But we're now in Rio, and he's getting a little drive, but he's being followed by someone who's taking pictures of him. It's all very strange.
Yes, especially when we reveal who this character is.
Yeah. And this is, by the way, we've now arrived at the actual film tourism because we're now in Rio de Janeiro, and this is where we're going to be getting a lot of our big street performing moments and sort of just the elongated scenes of shit happening, you know?
Well, okay, I've noted down line here that I have to discuss for a little bit.
Okay.
Because Bond, he gets his hotel room, and he's being shown around by the concierge.
He's given the presidential suite, Kyle.
He's given the presidential suite, and he says, don't bother showing me the rest. If I get lost, I'll call a cab. In the room, Bond? What?
It's a joke about how big the room is.
I guess.
So you can get a taxi from one part of the room to the other, and cab drivers always know
it's
the way
a
around
bit
the city.
obtuse. Also, the guy he's talking to looks a bit confused as well. It's like, okay, sir, sure.
Yeah, I think like he thinks Bond's just an ass, basically.
Which I think he is a little bit.
I think he is as well, but I got the joke immediately. I knew exactly what the yuck was meant to be there, you know?
Okay.
I knew it immediately. But what I find very surprising is Manuela shows up, Kyle. And he's like surprised almost, like he didn't just see her clearly standing at the bar off camera when the concierge man was still there.
Yeah, and also this is our third and least relevant Bond girl to the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Corinne was quite useless, but you know.
I mean, at least she like had a plot role.
She helped get information from a safe, I suppose.
Yeah, and she flew the helicopter.
Yeah, like Bond couldn't have just got an unnamed driver to pick him up there, and the film would be equally as fine. But okay.
Yeah, Manuel is a weird one because Bond is supposed to be here unofficially, but she is an MI6 agent. She's like, M sent me.
The local office to assist. There's always
a local office, isn't it?
There's always the local connection, yeah. It's like the BBC, they've always got some regional directory, you know?
Yeah.
Bond, then we cut to nighttime because, you know, he's like, you know, I'm going to meet someone in 5 hours, and he's like, what do we do for 5 hours? And he assaults this lady, presumably. But when we're like going through this big Rio de Janeiro parade at nighttime, he's just standing there in a full tuxedo. He just looks so fucking out of place. And when we cut to nighttime and we're going through the nighttime parade in Rio de Janeiro,
exotic dancing,
but Bond is standing there in this big fucking dinner night tuxedo thing, and they're not going to like a fancy dinner. He's just wearing
watching the parade.
Yeah, but he's just wearing the tuxedo for the bit, I guess. This is like the film that got the Bond stereotype or something, and we're like, well, he needs to wear the tuxedo.
You know, Bond has to wear a tuxedo at some point, right? We can't fit it anywhere else into the movie, so sure.
So he wears it now, I guess. Which is fine, okay. Oh, you know, what are you going to say? He just looks out of place, in my opinion. But then, out of this big parade, there's various different characters sort of dancing down, and one of them's this big, tall clown that looks like a 10-pin bowling pin.
Yes, a big ominous clown. Well, yeah, Bond, he slips into this warehouse to find out what's going on with Drax, and he says to Manuela, don't talk to any strange men, I'll be back, like he's his dad or something.
Yeah, This clown starts marching down the alleyway quite menacingly slowly, though, and it is quite scary.
I say, you know, it's Jaws because he likes doing horror movie stuff.
Yeah, Michael Myers to the max.
But yeah, so he walks up and he gets close enough that you can see his face, and he takes the hat off, and he does his big Jaws smile. But also, he looks really sweaty under it, like that was like really hot under there.
I bet that didn't look fun at all to be under.
Uh-huh.
Jaws already, some would say, looks like a big scary clown. So
Yes,
it's just nice that he wanted to go the extra mile with some makeup, you know.
he does bits.
He does bits. We know then this one he certainly does bits. Now Jaws working under the control of Drax.
Well, yeah, so he decides he's going to kill Manuela, and she pulls out a tiny knife as if that's going to do anything to Jaws.
Who's just a cyborg, he's a Terminator.
But there's absolutely bizarre things that happen here. So they're right next to like the opening of a nightclub or something.
Yeah, like a bar.
Like and yeah, it's a bar or a nightclub, some sort of nightlife place. And so Jaws is about to go in for a signature bite on this lady, but then a bunch of like partiers come out, and he has to pretend that he's just dancing with her.
Yeah, so he picks her up and swings her around and then drops her when they all leave, and then picks...
And she doesn't scream or anything, she's just sort of like really upset.
Yeah, and then he picks her up again, getting ready to like bite her on her again and kill her, and then Bond's like on the roof of the warehouse and jumps down like Batman.
Yes.
And then he's kind of fighting him, not really doing much because it's Jaws, and then another little mini parade comes out of the bar and sort of drags Jaws away unintentionally.
He gets swept up in the crowd.
Yeah, and at first he's like trying to kind of fight it, but not really, because there's no way Jaws would be moved if he didn't want to be moved.
No, of course not. All of these people are like, they look like 70-year-old party girls.
Yeah.
And Jaws is like a giant man somehow being pushed by these
people. Yeah,
people.
and he's got these like big white gloves on and stuff. Like, he's still partially in costume, so maybe they think he's part of the parade. And then after like maybe a few feet of being dragged away unintentionally, he just kind of shrugs and goes along with it and starts dancing away with them.
Yes.
What is this? What on earth is this? What a way to figure out a way to exit scene. Like, they're like, we can't be arsed shooting a fight scene here. Let's just have Jaws just not be a professional and just decide, I'm not going to kill you, I'm going to dance away now.
They've kind of written themselves into a corner here, because they've written a situation where Bond simply cannot beat Jaws, right? We've established that you try and punch Jaws, nothing happens. It happens multiple times in the movie.
Yeah. Then you rewrite the scene.
Fight. Yeah, they don't want to have a scene where he knocks out Jaws or something with a pipe or anything. He's just like he gets swept up by the crowd.
When he's done his Batman jump down from the top, he could have knocked him out cold by hitting him in the back of the neck or something, right? Mm-hmm. Like, they could have just done that.
But there is the cute scene there where they smile at each other, which I think is quite funny.
It's just so unnecessary.
I like that though,
because after Jaws gets taken away by the crowd, they don't cut the scene. The scene kind of keeps playing.
No, they don't they don't run away or anything. They're just stood there having a conversation while he's dancing in the background.
Yeah, and then they kind of start walking away down the alley as the parade is walking away down the other side of the alley. But you can clearly see a man in shadow that's about 5 feet taller than everyone else, and that's Jaws. And he's just part of the crowd, still in shot, being dragged away. But at this point, Bond and Manuela, they're both alone. Like, all Jaws needs to do is to get out of that crowd and sprint back, and he can kill them both.
I know, it's totally ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous. This film's just so goofy.
But anyway, that's the last we've seen of Manuela. She's done with the movie now. Bond says he'll take her home, and then she never comes back again.
Yeah, exactly. Goodbye, Manuela. But then we're going up a cable car ride, Kyle, with the 7-Up.
Going up a cable car. And you have to say, Rio de Janeiro is a very nice, pretty city, isn't it?
It's very nice. It's very pretty. This is where it becomes so apparent this is our tourism moment.
Yeah.
But then we're looking with telescopes to look onto some airfield, because they have like Drax Industries logos everywhere. And we're seeing planes taking stuff to and fro from a place. And then he looks over the other side of like the platform through the telescope. And who does he see?
Well, of course, it's Holly Goodhead.
It's Dr. Goodhead. What are the chances?
Dr. Goodhead. Is she actually a doctor, or is that just her cover identity?
I don't know.
I think that was her cover. I don't think she's actually. I mean,
so like that'd be like
she does seem to have like scientific knowledge.
That'd be like
I don't know.
If Bond went undercover and called himself Dr. James Bond.
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah, I guess I was wondering throughout this movie if Goodhead is even her real name.
Yeah, well, the film
it could just be a cover identity.
It never decides to make that apparent at any point. So that's what we're running with, you know. Goodhead by name.
I mean, I guess why would she tell Bond her real name? But
Exactly. But this will plays into the conspiracy theory that James Bond isn't his real name, you know?
it's true, yeah.
Now, Jaws decides to show up here for the next day. He's decided, oh, fuck, I was supposed to be killing Bond.
Yeah. Oh, right, I wasn't supposed to be partying in Rio. I was supposed to kill James Bond.
Yeah. And he starts, like, chewing through cables when Bond and Goodhead are on the cable car, but it doesn't do anything because he ends up just jumping on the cable car anyway. Then he has, like, he has, like, a friend that looks a bit like Sandor, but isn't Sandor.
Sandor's brother is out to help him.
Yeah.
This is the Hound.
Yeah, this is the yeah. And like he knocks out the admin guy that's running the cable car and says he's gonna like start helping Jaws, and the whole biting the cable thing meant nothing because nothing falls, nothing frays, nothing anything.
No,
it's just like
it's weird too because it's such an iconic shot from this movie is him biting through the metal cable. That's like the iconic Jaws shot.
Yeah, and it means nothing in the context.
It means
of the film.
nothing. It doesn't like destabilize the cable car.
A cable car doesn't go swinging
bizarre.
down to the surface. Nothing.
I think it causes Bond to like fall off, and that's why he has to hold on.
Yeah,
but that's about it.
Well, so Goodhead says to James, "Hang on, don't fall, James." And Bond goes, "Well, the thought had occurred to me to hang on." Yeah.
Classic Bond sassiness. We love to see
They
it.
jump on some chains and go like sliding down a zip line, and then the guy in the control room speeding up the cable car to catch up with them, and Jaws is standing up with his hands in his hips.
And Jaws just keeps looking at the guy like faster. Yeah.
And Jaws is standing with his hands in his hips, just smiling at Bond and Goodhead, being like, "I'm going to catch you," you know. And it gets too fast, and Bond and Goodhead drop down onto the grass and are completely unharmed. They look like they're not underneath the cable car whatsoever. They look in the middle of nowhere.
No.
But the cable car crashes into the 7-Up house, the little entry room for the cable car, and Jaws is just fine. He's unharmed by all this.
He always is. This is the same guy they did in The Spy Who Loved Me, where he falls out of the car and then just walks out the door, right?
Yeah.
Jaws is invincible.
Yeah, Jaws is invincible. Nothing could kill him. And this is where he meets the love of his life.
He meets the love of his life, and it's great. They play like the generic falling in love music.
Yeah, she's just like this blonde girl that's like 4'11".
She's a tiny woman. She has pigtails.
And she's very
big
skinny
glasses.
and big glasses, and she's blonde. And there's a Mandela effect debate about this, Kyle. We just want to bring it up in this, where people swear in the cinema that this girl had braces. And everyone swears blind it was true, though in the DVD and the Blu-ray and the streaming versions there is no braces, and people thought, well, they removed the braces. But then there's a review from the time that says the thing that would have made this joke better between Jaws and her is if she was wearing braces. So that implies that she definitely didn't have braces, and the actor has since said that no, she wasn't wearing braces when they filmed it.
Because, of course, why would they remove the braces? Like,
PC gone mad,
why would they
Kyle.
go to all that effort? Yeah, PC gone mad.
Yeah. PC gone mad, removing the braces. Because it'll offend people with braces or something, Kyle.
I'll be honest with you, I don't think the joke would be better if she had braces. I mean, the joke is that she's tiny and he's massive, right? That's the main crux of the joke.
It would work in more layers, I think, is the point. But yeah, so they like hold hands and just walk away. She doesn't seem remotely bothered.
Yeah,
that he's just
it's
come
love
out.
It's love at first sight. Yeah,
she's not bothered at all that he's just come out of this crashing cable car and that he's got teeth that look like a sunken ship.
But he has such a pretty smile, Nathan.
I'm so scared of this man, honestly.
He's a big softy at the end of the day, isn't he?
So you say, Kel. I'm scared of him.
That's what this movie would imply by the end of this movie.
Yeah, okay. Now, we kind of cut away here after they skip away all happy at the second.
Yeah, this is once again a way to write Jaws out of the scene. It's like, okay, well, Jaws is distracted again. Like, that's just Jaws' character. He's very easily distracted, you know?
Well, Goodhead and Bond are just kissing on the grass because they're alive. And then Drax's henchmen sort of kidnap them both, but Bond gets away, but Goodhead doesn't get away.
Well, yeah, there's a scene I kind of like because they're in the back of like an ambulance, I think.
Yeah, they are. Because
the Drax's goons are pretending to be EMTs, where he sort of indicates the Goodhead to distract the guy by smiling at him. It's a cool little bit of spy stuff, I thought.
Yes, it is.
But then the guy looks over at Bond and Bond gives him a cheeky wink. It's like, look at me instead.
Yeah. Roger Moore said something interesting. I don't know if I spoke about it last week about how he sees the difference between him and Connery's Bond. He says that he always thought that Connery played Bond like a killer and he plays Bond like a lover.
Interesting. Okay.
Which, in scenes like this, you can see.
Yeah, I would say that generally mirrors Bond has a less sociopathic energy than Connery did.
Yeah, I would say so, but like I don't think like at any moment Moore's about to kill me. I think at any point Sean Connery could just be done with me, you know?
Yeah, Sean Connery, whatever he only cares about his own pleasure, and beyond that, he's like, I'll just murder you now. I don't care.
Yeah, Moore Bond just seems like a nicer man. More bumbling
Yes,
though, but, you know.
I agree. Yes. Well, yes, he does like good head just get captured at this point.
Absolutely, but that gives us a transition to have a cowboy Bond.
Yeah, he's not only he's dressed very specifically like Clint Eastwood in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. He has the same hat. He has the poncho.
Yeah,
I don't know
riding
why.
horses through like the desert to go to this like house in the middle of nowhere.
And like the music has gone all cowboy as well.
Yeah. So we get there, and it's these monks that are ninja monks. They're all fighting each other.
Yeah, they're karate monks.
Yeah, karate monks. And then we go through a room, and oh, hello, Miss Moneypenny.
Moneypenny's here. She has her desk set up, but she always does.
She always does, yeah, always doing the paperwork, no matter where we are. And we find Q out in the courtyard, and he's
Q and his Q Brigade are here doing their stupid gadgets again.
He's got balls.
Balls, Q.
What are their actual name?
They're bolas.
Bolas, yeah, bolas. But Bolas Bond, and he throws them. They goes around someone's neck and explodes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he says, "Oh, get that ready for something.
Get that ready for someone that's about to go on a mission soon." Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we have like something that looks like a homeless man under a poncho that sort of splits in two and is actually a machine gun.
Yes.
We have then a laser gun, Kyle, that's like melting like a mannequin.
Just a thing that Q is casually working on. You know, I have exploding bolas. I have a machine gun. Oh, also I have this laser gun.
I have a blaster.
You know,
yeah.
I have this sci-fi phaser.
We're in the white hot heat of Star Wars. You know, if we haven't mentioned this already. And we're saying that, you know, I need to like go to this location. You know, Goodhead's been kidnapped. Yeah,
they're in somehow they discover that Drax's secret hideout is in the Amazon jungle somewhere.
Yes, he does. He does know that, doesn't he? He goes to M. Is M here? Yeah.
M is also here.
M is also here. Yeah. And he's given like permission to like go, and Q's like, I have a boat that you can take if you can be trusted not to wreck it, Bond.
Oh, he cannot be trusted. Yeah. Not for a second. This boat doesn't last 10 minutes.
I think it's a brilliant boat, though. I think it's a really good boat. It's very cool. Spy boat. It's a good boat. It's got missiles. It's got sea mines in it. It's got cool windows. It's black. It's much better in it. But the baddies have like mortar boats. They have like mortar cannons on board. I think actually the effects of this boat chase are quite good. I think it's actually quite a good. Oh yeah,
there's an explosion where one of the boats gets triggered by the mine, and that is an explosion for the ages. Those guys go sailing like 10 feet into the air.
Yeah, absolutely they do. Yeah. Now in this fight, Jaws shows up in one of these boats, and in my notes here, I've got maybe that relationship with the blonde girl didn't work out because she's nowhere to be seen, and I'm quite sad for him. But you know, he's here with a vengeance. He's angry, and this boat chase takes us to a waterfall.
Yes, one of those big, famous, real dark Brazil waterfalls. It's probably the same one that's in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Probably
lost on me. But Bond's boat turns into he has a glider ejector, and he glides away. And what happens to Jaws, Kyle? Good old Jaws.
He goes off the edge of the waterfall, but he kind of braces first, so you're like, oh, he'll be fine.
Yeah, because he braced. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, F the ball the Q just gave him, it's off the edge of a waterfall. That's how Bond feels about you, Q. He does not care about you.
He does not care. I would love to find out there's a satellite following Bond everywhere, and Q live streams the whole thing so he can like claim it all back in expenses or something, you know? For like a disciplinary hearing.
Yeah, he takes him for everything he's worth, yeah.
So Bond reaches Drax's space program facility.
Well, yeah, this is crazy to me. So Bond, he's looking in the Amazon, and he crashes in the middle of the Amazon rainforest, and then 2 minutes later he turns a corner and he's like, oh, I found the secret base. Well, that was convenient, wasn't it?
He'd been heading there the whole time, you know. That's why they had the boat chase in the first place. He was getting close, you know. He was getting
Yeah,
dead
but
close.
didn't the boat chase like throw him off course? You would imagine.
Nah, the whole time
Surely he didn't
the whole
plan
time
to go.
Because remember, just before the boat chase starts, he has like a map in his hand. So he's been bobbing and weaving, trying to get in that direction. You know, he knew where he
But
was
does he
going.
not? Okay, so he had always intended to dump that plane off a waterfall.
Yes, absolutely. That's why he brought the glider with him.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, he knew that was going to happen.
He's like, "Hugh, you have to install a glider in this boat," and I was like, "Do I even want to know why 007? No,
He's like,
no, you don't."
Yeah, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. Q. But when we arrive into this room, there's full of these nice, sexy ladies, Kyle. But they're all
Yes.
part of Drax's space program ladies that are being trained at the start of the film, you know. And then Bond sort of smiles at them, and then like a fucking trampoline ejector opens up beneath him, and he flies into the pond.
Yes.
And a big python
gets-
gets released in there. And he has a fight
Another
with a snake.
pretty and fun action sequence against this python.
Yeah, it's actually quite scary.
Yeah, the really, really big snake.
Really
Yeah.
big snake, yeah, it's ridiculously huge. It would eat Bond. And strangle him under the water, probably, and suffocate him, yeah.
Yeah. And he manages to, he still has the pen that he took from Goodhead. That's how he manages
his
to
good
kill
head's
it.
poison pen, yeah, so he stabs it under the mouth, yeah, absolutely. He gets out of the water,
This is-
and immediately his clothes are bone dry, but his face is soaking wet. Like, so they've just splashed
Well,
your
Nathan,
face.
it's special spy clothes that don't get wet,
Special,
you see.
they've got built-in air dryers, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, I accept. He's
yeah.
a talented man.
This is where Drax is like, "Oh, you killed my pet snake," and Bond says, "I had to cut it off when I thought he might have a crush on me," which, good pun,
Good.
but also kind of gay. Because Nathan, the python, it can sometimes be a bit of a phallic imagery,
Possibly, yeah. True, Kyle. True. And he knew because he had a crush. It works on multiple levels, Kyle, doesn't it?
Works on multiple levels, yeah.
So at this point, we're seeing all the Moonraker shuttles all being launched, and it's like Moonraker 1, 2, 3, 4, go, go, go.
Well, yeah, okay. This is where we first indicate what Drax's plan is.
Yep.
Because he says, like, "Oh, Bond, I have this flower, and this flower killed the Mayans." And I'm like, okay, that's a strange detail to just drop into the movie.
And this is the glass that we're using in Venice. That we're making this special glass to hold the gases that this flower creates.
And Bond is like, "Oh, so why did you steal the shuttle?" And he says, "Oh, because I needed it.
Yeah, it's like I loaned it to the US government, but
One of mine broke, so I stole the one back."
yeah, you couldn't have just recalled it or something. You couldn't have maybe waited 6 months and then maybe built a new one. The film
You could have
doesn't-
just fixed the one that was broken.
The film at no point introduces a ticking clock for this villain. He could have just waited, But
Yeah.
no, the film needed an excuse for the film to happen, so this is how we're explaining that away, why he stole back his own space shuttle. I don't find this to be sufficient, to be honest with you. I hold it against this movie. This is what I mean by, like, Drax just becomes like a nothing villain.
Uh-huh.
Now, what I would say here is surely the Globe would notice all of these space shuttles launching from the Amazon rainforest.
Well, okay, we see the footage of these shuttles taking off, and some of them are coming from, like, snowy mountains, so I think the implication is these shuttles are launching all around the world and not just from the rainforest.
Okay, I'll take that point, but I'll just adapt it to say space shuttles are pretty fucking rare things, and the whole globe would notice them going out during a Cold War.
Well, okay, I mean, how much, like, satellite imagery did we have at this point in 79?
A lot, and also people were looking for intercontinental ballistic missiles being fired every 5 seconds, so they're going to notice something that looks like a missile going up into high orbit in case it's going to land on them.
But Nathan, he has radar jamming technology.
Apparently.
Even though that can't be in the shuttles because the shuttles can detect each other.
Yep.
So,
Okay, it doesn't work,
Yeah.
it's bullshit.
no, Nathan, you're right. It doesn't make any sense.
Bullshit.
But also, we reunite with Goodhead because she's in, like, a briefing room that also doubles as, like, an assassination chamber, I guess, because it's directly underneath the engines.
It's the fuel exhaust pathway, yeah.
Yeah. But there's, like, a whole briefing room that unfolds in there. It seems like this is something like a cutscene where Drax, like, executed his staff or something.
Yeah, a bit like...
why else does this
A
room
bit,
have
a bit
this
like
whole
a bit
set
like
in it?
blow-filled leather chairs that fall into the fire
Yeah,
pit.
yeah, exactly.
It does
yeah.
look like that, doesn't it? Yeah, it does look like something was cut here potentially, or it's just to misdirect you, Kel, so you don't realise it's underneath the fuel exhaust of the rocket ship, and then it is it makes no sense, but whatever. Kyle Bond's got an exploding watch, doesn't he?
He does have he has like a little fold-out explosive in his watch.
And when the bomb goes off to open up the venting systems to let them break out, what did you say?
He says bang on time.
Brilliant.
And I have it in my notes, he's been waiting to use that from the moment Q handed him that watch. It's like, oh, I've got the perfect clip for whenever I get to use this.
Yeah, probably he's been counting down. He's like, oh, finally, today's the day. So, everyone's getting into these spaceships, aren't they? And we're launching them left, right, and centre. And Bond and Goodwill are able to become the pilots of one of the Moonrakers. Moonraker 4, is it, or something? Moonraker 5? And Drax is on one of the other ones, but no one's got spacesuits on. They're wearing, like, just whatever, like yellow kind of jumpsuits.
Yeah, they're wearing, like, yellow henchman jumpsuits, but they don't have, like, spacesuits on.
Yeah, which I find bizarre. These spaceships have atmosphere, life support systems, and all that, apparently.
Apparently, yeah. Highly advanced stuff.
But yeah, if you say so, Kyle. If you say so, my friend. And we're getting up there, and by the way, I mentioned it earlier on, but we're getting into the model-heavy part of the movie. All of this is phenomenal looking.
Oh yeah, the effects on this all look really good.
Yeah, they hold up to today's standards quite well, and like you see like the space station and the ships all sort of flying in formation to go and dock one by one. Like honestly, if you switched these out for Star Trek ships, I believe it. You know, like it's really up to Star Trek picture quality for model work. I guess it's 79. This is the same year as the motion picture.
That's why we linger on the spaceship for 20 minutes while dramatic music plays, yeah.
Yeah, listen, I love my Starship pornography, you know, I just play the Star Trek music over these scenes because it's more beautiful than the...
This is where the comparison to The Spy Who Loved Me really becomes extremely obvious, because Drax is like, oh, here's my spaceship station where I'm going to keep all of these people and then going to kill all of humanity with gas.
Yeah, instead of nukes.
Instead of nukes, I'm going to use gas.
He's got these,
instead of underwater, I'm using space.
He's got these spheres that he's going to launch into geostationary orbit above certain parts of the Earth, and each sphere is capable of killing 100 million people, and he's 50 of them. He only gets to launch 3 of them, I think, and then that's what leads to our little X-Wing space fight at the end. Yeah,
I will say though, he's put more thought into this plan than the last guy did.
Yeah,
because like
Drax over Stromberg.
Stromberg didn't have any like civilization plans in mind. He didn't have any like genetically engineered people in his underground Atlantis. It was just sort of him.
Yeah, it was just him and like his staff.
It was him and Jaws, I think, basically.
Him and Jaws, yeah, because Naomi was died. Yeah, so. We're being told about all this eugenics stuff. This is where I felt I need to know that he's just starting the late 20th century eugenics war from Star Trek. This is just where I had to bring it up. But what we see in the space station, Kyle, is that Jaws got his girlfriend in.
Yeah. I guess Drax is an employer. He's like, sure, I'll bring your girlfriend. I don't care.
But like, isn't he looking to like start like a Ubermensch society? Like with like,
yes, because this is how James Bond convinces Jaws to help him. It's like, well, Jaws, you're not exactly like the pinnacle of genetic perfection or whatever.
Yeah, so like this is like Operation Noah's Ark or something, because it turns out that what Goodhead and Bond are holding in their cargo bay is like just people.
People, yes, 2 by 2.
Yeah, 2 by 2, yeah, and they're like kissing and stuff, and zero gravity, the hair's going up and all that. A lot of work was put into this, you know. This is how Jaws is convinced to see the light later on. But this is where we always talk about the radar jammer, but I'm like, a telescope would do. You can see the International Space Station, Kel, with the naked eye today, and that is bigger than the International Space Station.
I think it's supposed to be like behind the moon. It's on the dark side of the moon.
No, it's not. I see Earth right below it, Kel.
Okay,
that's Earth right below it in frame, Kel. This is just bullshit. That's what it is. It's the radar jammer that's preventing you from seeing it.
Well, okay, I did want to point out, because I feel like I have to, I think the Goodhead gets to be the first Bond girl who's actually knocked out a goon. Like, she actually punches a goon and knocks him out. I feel like that's the first time that might have ever happened.
Really? Does Honey Rider not knock anyone out in Doctor No?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Tracy Bond might have knocked out a goon, actually.
You're beyond me now. These things sort of slip through my brain after we watch them.
I'm just keeping note, because I feel like Goodhead may be the most competent Bond girl we've had so far in terms of like pulling stuff off.
I completely believe you. Yeah, you know, like there's always the trope that every single person that gets cast as a Bond girl always says, "I'm not like the previous Bond girls. I'm more independent, more forthright, and all the rest of it." And it's always like half true. Like they are better than the one that came before, but then they always cave to Bond. This is just another progression of that. She is the best one yet, but then I'm sure the next one will be more independent again, you know?
I'm thinking about it like she flies the shuttle at the end. She's actually got stuff to do, which is a nice change of pace, you know.
Yeah.
Nathan, I give this franchise so much shit for sexism. I have to give them their dues when they do it right.
Yes,
okay?
yeah, of course you can't kill. That's okay. I'm not going to hold it against you. Yeah, absolutely. So, Jaws has a problem with Drax's plan because he's looking around, going, "Oh, I don't like the look of this," and he's like gonna put Bond into his airlock chamber that's going to suck him out into space, and he's like, "Jaws, put him in," and Jaws is looking around, going, "Oh, I don't really like the thought of that." And then like they get,
well, he keeps looking at his GF, and his GF's just smiling at him. He's like, "Oh, I got to protect her at all costs."
Yeah, though that would imply playing along, wouldn't it? But I guess he doesn't. He decides that means I'm going to fight. I'm going to show my girlfriend that I'm a good person.
Well, okay, first, they disable the radar jammer before they get caught. And there's a little scene where the Americans are like, "Oh, we've discovered the space station because now it shows up on our satellites and we have ice now." And they call the Russian general, and he's in his jammies.
Yep, red jammies.
You fuckers. Yeah, you guys deal with this. I'm busy. I've got so many problems. And he's kissing a young lady. And I'm like, okay, this was a scene for sure.
Yeah, they had to put this in the film. Yeah.
You're going to get the Russians in here somehow, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose, because you can't have shuttles launching with no one noticing, Kale, which is why I think the fact that Moonraker was able to launch their shuttles in the first place is bullshit. Anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Americans get Space Force together real quickly.
Oh, they do, right? They have this whole launch shuttle with, like, space lasers and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, the roof opens up to have, like, the Marines fall out.
Yeah, and they have this zero-G fight with space. It's crazy, yeah. And Drax sends out his men in the yellow jumpsuits versus NASA's army aluminium shiny
and both
suits.
sides have laser guns, to be
both
clear.
I don't know how Drax has got laser guns, but they both have laser guns.
I don't know how the US government has laser guns. I understand how Drax does, because he's like a fictional evil scientist. He can probably invent laser guns.
Mass-produce them, Kyle. For them.
Right, okay. Sure.
Now, in my notes here, I feel the need to note that we have 20 minutes left, and we're just finding all this out.
20 minutes, that's plenty of time to resolve all this.
Yeah. So, we've got 3 globes launched that are going to drop gas, but they haven't fired yet. The rest are disabled. The US Space Navy have arrived. They have a space fight.
Yeah, Space Force.
Yeah, Space Force have arrived, and now there's a big outdoor space fight happening. The ship's been shot. The space station's been wrecked all to shit. The zero G's off because Bond slammed the zero G button. It's all kicking off basically. Mm-hmm. Like we're really doing it.
We're doing Jaws redemption arc now. Jaws is just helping out Bond all the way. He's Team Bond.
Yeah, he's firmly on side.
And weirdly, even though his motivation for this was to save his GF, he kind of disappears for this entire action sequence.
Yeah.
There's no frame of reference for where she is throughout all of this.
We don't have time for her, Kyle. We don't have time.
We do not have time.
Because at this point, Drax sort of just goes to war and just runs. But, like, where are you running to?
Yes.
Do you have an escape pod that we don't know about?
He seems to be running towards an open airlock.
Yeah,
because that's where he ends
does.
up confronting Bond.
And then he sort of walks backwards and picks up a gun. And then, Bond's still got his hidden blade, his hidden dart gun on him.
Yeah, his hidden dart gun, yeah.
That he's totally not had on the whole time, because there was other times that would have been useful. And then he brings it out and bang, he shoots Drax. F Drax.
Heartbroken Mr. Drax.
Heartbroken Mr. Drax, yeah, exactly. Take a giant step for mankind, will you?
Yeah. What I like about Moore is he doesn't just do one quip. He usually, he rapid fires quips.
Yeah, he's quipping multiple times before someone dies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The last thing they do is
because
roll
even
eyes.
after this, Goodhead comes up to him and is like, "Oh, where's Drax? Oh, he had to fly."
Yeah, he had to fly, yeah. So that's Drax out in space. F Drax. Space station's coming apart, Kyle. We gotta get to the space shuttle and get the hell out of here. But we're leaving Jaws and his girlfriend, and I was like, that's pretty sad, actually.
Grim. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and they can't get the docking clamps off the space station. Space station's going to blow up, but Drax...
Well, okay, yeah. First
Jaws,
of all, we have a scene where Jaws, he sits down with his girlfriend, and he talks. He can talk.
Well, he says one line, but they find a bottle of champagne, they crack open the bottle, and she's very happy about this, and he's like, here's to us.
Here's to us. Which I have to assume is ADR because there's no way he can talk with those things in his mouth.
Yeah, probably. It's just, I thought he was European. I was shocked that he was American. And then they see Bond and Goodhead through a porthole in the ship, a window, and they see into there. And Jaws, Bond puts on like a headset, and it must transmit to the speakers, and the ship's just internal comms. He's like,
Well, it is Drax's shuttle, so maybe
I know,
it
but
does.
surely it would private broadcast, I would think, with not just open comms. But anyway, he's like,
No, he hit the
Jaws.
open channel button.
yeah, he hit the open all decks level button. And he was like, Jaws,
Yeah.
with our docking clamps are stuck, can you help remove them? Like, just accepting that he's going to die, I guess. Like, oh, we
Yeah.
can't let you in, so just help us get away. And Jaws is just
And
such
Jaws
a...
is like, well, I guess I got nothing better to do.
Yeah, so I'll help you. And his girlfriend's loving it. She's loving just watching him be a strong man. And then we do get it released, and Bond and Goodhead are away to destroy these spheres that are still around Earth that are going to drop this gas. Because even though Drax is dead, the
And
threat
Goodhead
is
is like,
over.
are we just leaving them to die? And Bond's like, nah, they'll be fine.
Yeah, it's only 100 miles to Earth. They'll be fine because the habitat bit that they're staying on sort of jettisons from the bits that explode
Yeah.
for some reason.
Yeah. For some reason, yeah.
Yeah. Which is good. Good for...
We don't see him again, but we do get confirmation that that Jaws and his girlfriend lived, because they're like, oh, we picked up 2 survivors from the habitat ring, a very tall man and a very short woman.
Yes, we do, absolutely. So that's good karma for Jaws and his girlfriend, I suppose, for switching sides.
But then when we get full on Star Wars to destroy these probes.
Yeah, we're first one down, second one down, then we get the third one, and Alec Guinness starts talking about using the Force.
Yeah, he has to switch to manual firing mode.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you've turned off your targeting computer, Bond. Is everything okay? Yeah. It's like, I'm all right.
Stay on target.
Yeah, exactly.
Stay on target.
Oh. And then Jaws is actually still a bad guy, and he comes flying in the TIE fighter. Yeah.
No, Drax is still alive, and then Jaws comes in the habitation pod and shits him
Oh
out
yeah,
the way.
he comes in with Q next to him, and it's the Millennium Falcon. Yeah. You're all clear, Bond. Now let's blow this thing and go home. Yeah. Oh. Pierre Cushing shows up. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, look, other than it being, like, an obvious Star Wars thing, I do kind of like it still. Like, do you see the ship coming to re-entry and it's starting to burn up?
No, listen,
it's pretty good.
I continue to maintain my stance hasn't changed. The model work is phenomenal. Like,
Yeah, all the space stuff is, for how silly it is, it's all done very
it's
well.
all done very well, actually. Like, I'm maybe critiquing and kind of taking shots at the story. Actually, it's quite entertaining to just watch by itself, though.
Oh, yeah.
And we destroy the third one finally. Job done, Kyle. We've done it. We've saved the day.
Yeah.
And we cut to NATO, UN, US headquarters, or whatever, and we're gonna broadcast this to the White House, and we're gonna broadcast this to Buckingham Palace. Her Majesty's gonna be so thrilled. This is the first, like, I don't know, British operation in space or something. Which I don't know why a constitutional monarch would get to see top secret government affairs.
I don't know why the Queen would care either, to be honest.
It's pretty interesting. We care enough to fucking buy a ticket to watch the film. And
I suppose so.
But, like, why would she be cared to get a direct line through? Why would even she be allowed? I don't think she's got clearance.
At the same time, has M not learned his fucking lesson by now about what's going to happen when he turns on the
This
screen?
literally is the same ending as Spy Who Loved Me.
It's literally the same ending.
Except without Russians. Yeah.
Yeah.
And because M goes, oh my god, what is 007 doing?
And bloody Q, outrageous Q, he says, I think he's attempting re-entry, sir.
Brilliant.
Q.
Brilliant.
Goodness gracious,
it's a
Q.
space bit, Kyle. It's relevant. He needs to... And then Bond just sort of looks up at the camera because there's a floating camera because they're having sex in zero gravity. Because gravity doesn't work in the spaceship anymore for some reason, by the way.
I bet this got the big laughs in the cinema back in the day, you know?
Bet. And Bond looks up and just sort of grabs the camera and turns it off. And then that's it. That's the end of Moonraker. We get the credits, and then we get a James Bond will return in for Your Eyes Only. I've got a note here that says, oh, will he? Do you mean it this time? Will he really?
Well, I also have to point out that it says filmed on location in Italy, Brazil, Guatemala, USA, and outer space. My dog's really happy about that.
Yeah, I can hear him. So yeah, it really was filmed in outer space on location, Kyle.
Yeah, they don't lie in credits, so it has to be true.
It's like when R2-D2 is in the credits of Star Wars and it says R2-D2 played by himself, or something like that. Even though that's like not true, there's like an actor. Yeah,
there's a little guy who sits inside
I'm
of R2-D2.
I'm almost surprised.
It's horrible.
I would have thought for like union rules, like credits need to be like straight shooter. They need to like cut the bullshit.
I'm sure they do now. I don't think you get away with this in 2025.
Yeah, like I remember there was a film I watched called The Shallows. It's like a shark movie. And there's like a seagull in it. Mm-hmm. There's a real seagull. Like I don't know if the seagull's got like a name in the film or not, but he's credited in the credits of the film. And the seagull's name, because it's a real seagull, is Steven Seagal.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah,
I
right.
love that.
But they couldn't have just said Siegel as himself. They have to give him like the credited name for like the handler to get extra work or something like that, you know? Mm-hmm. So back in the day, though, you could just lie and say you really went into outer space.
Yeah, why not?
Why not exactly, right? Why not exactly?
Well, okay, yeah. This is a very stupid movie, but I had fun.
I had fun too. It is quite apparently just a Spy Who Loved Me bit. Like, they needed to cash in on the Star Wars craze.
I think I enjoyed it more than The Spy Who Loved Me, though.
I you know what? I think I did too. Honest to God, which might seem a bit
contradictory.
Yeah, just because I've shit talked it, and this is less original, but it's like they've told that story again, but it's a bit more enjoyable.
I think the space stuff is fun. I mean, the submarine car was also fun. I don't know. They're both good movies, but
they're both just different wacky ways of telling the same story, and it just comes down to what paint job do you like on that story, you know?
Sure, yeah. I'm a sucker for a redemption arc, Nathan. I don't know what to tell you.
It's because of Jaws of Redemption?
It's because Jaws Redemption arc. I'm all about it.
Jaws Redemption arc. Okay. Okay.
Well, Nathan, I think we're done. So where can the people find you online?
Kyle, the people can find me online as always on all social media hosting platforms such as Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky, Mastodon, and of course in Kyle the Scot at YouTube on YouTube's comment sections from time to time. I also run our @name not included Twitter account for Enter the BondVerse. I keep that updated every week with the episodes, the occasional little gif or posting here or there. Be damn nice if you give us a follow over there, because it would give me someone to interact with. I'm a bit lonely on that platform at the moment.
Yeah, you need to move to Blue Sky. I keep telling you.
Well, I have a Blue Sky for personal use, but you know, it's just Twitter's UI, as much as we shit talk Twitter, which is not what we're going to talk about at the end of this show. It's just easy for switching accounts easily without having to retype in information every time. It's out of sheer laziness, Kyle.
Yeah.
Kyle,
well,
where can the people
you already revealed where people can find me. It's Kyle the Scot on YouTube, where I do videos as Game Critiques, and Nathan sometimes in those comment sections. You can also find our entire backlog, where we have done Enter the Snyderverse for all of the DCU movies, Enter the X-Verse for all of the Fox X-Men movies, and a whole bunch of BondVerse movies now too. And speaking of which, we will see you next time, for real this time, for your eyes only.